10864. Station's your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Ducks football.
We got to elevate and make our teaching standards elite.
Got him deep. He's open. He's got it. He's gone. It is picked up. Intercepted. Oregon with the ball.
There can't be any type of fading. It doesn't work that way.
20, 50. He's going to score. 10. Touchdown, Oregon.
We invest a lot of time in that, and we expect that to pay off in a big-time way.
Oregon repeats as the Pac-12 champion.
This is the Oregon Football Coaches Show on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield. Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Country Financial Insurance. Protect what matters. And by Pepsi and Bigfoot Beverages. Go Ducks. Drink Pepsi. Now, let's talk Oregon Ducks football. Alongside Mike Jorgensen and Joey Mack, here's the voice of the Ducks, Jerry Allen.
Thank you and welcome to the show. And let's hurry up and talk about number 3 in the nation college football rankings. And before the coach gets here, how great that is, because when he gets here, we ain't talking about it.
That's right. It's 1-0. 1-0 as soon as Coach Cristobal gets here. But yeah, number 3 in the rankings, the second rated one-loss team, a resume that's still really, really good. A team that they beat is right behind them at number 4. It's exciting. Jorgie, you said it best before we got on the show. It's just fun to be relevant in November.
Oh, man, it's a big week, isn't it? I mean, it's just a huge week.
Yeah.
Going to Utah and ranked where you are and playing the type of football that you're playing, and Utah playing the type of football they're playing, and a big-time matchup that the nation wants to see. And, you know, it's just – this is what players and coaches and us as broadcasters and fans, I think, sometimes. I mean, they'd rather see us just breeze through 12
undefeated,
games. But
beat everybody by
this is what it's all about.
No doubt.
This is what it's about.
It's an emotional week coming up, and every week from here throughout the rest of the season is going to be this way if you take care of business. And I think that's why the coaches and the players as a group are 1-0 mentality. Can't be looking ahead, getting excited about what might be. It's what is, and that's Utah this week. Although off of really nice victory over Washington State.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I mean, you know, we're going to hear from a lot of the student athletes later on in the show once Coach Cristobal is wrapped up with you guys. And you know, I really like the way that the Ducks talked about it this week. It's very similar to the conversation we had with a lot of players talking about the game against Washington, where it's like, yes, that is a rivalry game. Yes, it's a big game. But it's also a big game because it's the next one on the schedule. And a lot of the guys had very similar things to say about this game. And I think that's the mentality that you have to have. I think it's the mentality that the coaches want the guys to have. And to be honest, guys, I like that approach. You know, it's not just, well, every game's big. It's, no, this is a big game. This is why we play for it. But if we think about it that way, you got to just go 1-0 every week. That's why the Ducks have that. That's why they talk about that all the time. And frankly, I think it's more important this year maybe than in another year because Oregon is playing so many young guys. 40 freshmen have played for this team this year. 19 of them are from this year's recruiting class.
It's crazy.
I mean, so that's 19 true freshmen that have played. But the thing is, guys, Utah's in the same boat.
Yeah.
Utah's played a number of underclassmen. They're one of the youngest teams in the country. No surprise why the Utes, I think, Jorgie, have gotten better over the course of the season because they played so many young guys, different quarterback earlier in the season. Now those guys all have game experience, much like a lot of the guys on the Ducks have game experience. That's why I think this is a great matchup, and it's a great time for these two teams to be meeting.
You just said it. The game reps are so important. They just are. And you start to see the evolution. You know, Jerry, and you and I were talking about before we came on the show, the evolution of guys like Cardwell and Bossa and Seven McGee and even Jackson Powers Johnson in his stages before he got hurt. And hopefully we're going to get a chance to see him on a regular basis coming up. Those game reps are nothing like practice reps. You learn so much given game type of situations, reading blocks, the unpredictability of defense that's very predictable in practice when the defense is simulating the other team in spots and they don't really move from them. I mean, you just cannot weigh the value of that, and you're starting to see the evolution of those guys really kind of emerging and all of a sudden becoming big-time players that we know they are.
Well, not only are they emerging as big-time players and becoming more cohesive, It's almost like they started that way. With the injuries Oregon had on the offensive line and some of the defense, plug new guys in quickly and hope they learn. Well, they learned right away.
They did.
Because Oregon continued to be good in the run game, continued to be very good in the defense and the defensive run. I mean, Oregon didn't drop off like I really thought they might with the number of injuries they had. And that, to me, goes back to recruiting.
No doubt.
Right people.
You stack historically good recruiting classes
Yes.
on top of each other, and the depth has been on display.
Well, we're going to talk football. Women's volleyball's up in the state of Washington this week. Cross-country championships are in Tallahassee. Basketball's Bahamas?
The women, yes.
Men
getting ready to go to the Maui Invitational that doesn't take place on Maui. It takes place in Vegas. But real quick, we hope that history repeats itself. The last time that the Ducks were playing in Salt Lake City in football, that was also the same weekend that the national championships were going on for track and field and cross country, and the women of Oregon won the national championship.
That's right.
In a dramatic fashion when Oregon was playing football in Salt Lake City. So let's hope that we get some good things repeating history here this week.
Continuity,
okay?
I like that.
Yeah.
All right, let's put that pressure on the coach when he comes up. He's also got a game this week, but we'll do that. All right, it's inside our Country Financial Studios. Jerry Allen, Jorge, Joey Mack will come back with the coach. He is next after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Well, Bob, I don't like Hunger's chances here, not against this feast of an IHOP defensive line.
That's right, Jim. They got pancakes, sausage, bacon, hash browns, and even scrambled eggs.
Heck of a lineup, Bob. They've been slaying Hunger in the backfield this whole season. Makes you wonder how Hunger finds the courage to get back out there.
Empty tummy, 42 pancakes. The blitz is on, and Hunger is demolished once again.
It never stood a chance, Bob.
Tackle your hunger with IHOP's Game Day Family Feasts.
You're listening to the Oregon Football Coaches Show on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Watch out! You got me!
The galaxy is safe once again.
In the pretend universe, kids play with pretend guns. In the real world, it's up to us to make sure they don't get their hands on a real gun. If you have a gun in the house, keep it locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Turn on the mic. Welcome back to the show. Jerry Allen, Jorge, and our head coach, Mario Cristobal. It's our Pepsi Coaches Spotlight, and welcome, Coach Cristobal, and thanks for spending some time with us. I know you barely have time to breathe this time of the year, but thanks for being here. And first thing, I'm going to say, you're 9-1. College football rankings have you at number 3. None of that means anything to you. You want to go 1-0, and you're still looking for that complete ball game from your team. Great win over Washington State. But one quarter didn't go as well as you wanted. Still, your team can still play a lot better, can't they?
We're always looking for improvement everywhere. I mean, at the end of the day, these other schools, they have players on scholarship too. They're going to make plays. And more importantly is how you're responding when a certain level of execution isn't achieved. What is the response when your eye discipline went sideways, when you didn't use the right technique, when you blew an assignment, and I think our guys have developed a resiliency over the course of the season so far that continues to grow and improve and impress. So we're going to keep digging deeper, keep working harder, and do everything possible for our next 1-0.
Little things that happen throughout the game, Coach, just from a standpoint of whether it's a Mikhail Wright kickoff return to begin the second half, minimal penalties in the game, couple of interceptions that turn into touchdowns for your offense and the short field that they're able to get. Those little things all add up to a lot, and I completely agree with you, and it's just really cool to see the way that your team responded. A bad second quarter, tied at halftime, and, man, they came out second half, just responded immediately.
Did a really good job just understanding that at this in college football, it's about taking the momentum and then keeping it and building on it, and we did that. They got the momentum in the second quarter, and we knew that they were a team that really – they've done a great job, by the way. I mean, they played some teams really tough, and they've won some really big games. But it's a team that really thrives on momentum and on energy. And we were going to have to change the way that they think and feel throughout the course of the game by taking it and keeping it and building on it. So great job by Mikkel, great job by the return team, and then to be able to go down and punch it in and play really good third-quarter defense to get the ball back again and again, started to create separation in the game.
Your team defensively really still limiting explosion plays. You had one or two in that game, particularly that one to start. But other than that, your defense keeps teams in front of them. Is that by design? I mean, where is that limiting of explosion plays coming from this year?
Well, I mean, it's part of the design of the defense. We've improved our front seven play dramatically against the run, which was early in the year was an issue. And it allows us to do a couple different things as we get the third down, not only by putting pressure on the quarterback, but by disguising coverages and presenting different looks. So, but we've kept things in front of us. Now that first play, or in that first quarter, is a great example of why you just keep playing the game, right? Because that could have been an easy score. Guy steps out of bounds, you keep playing. Scramble, could be a touchdown. You just keep playing. You just happen to knock the ball out before across the plane. And all of a sudden it's a touchback and we have the ball. So a lot of lessons learned. You just keep playing. You just keep coming. And it's hard to beat a team that has some talent that just keeps coming. So all in all, just very positive for us.
It's amazing what pressure does to a quarterback, isn't it? And I don't care if you're a pocket quarterback or if a guy that can run and scramble and make plays on the go, the ability to put pressure, particularly 3 of those 4 quarters. Delora got into rhythm in that second quarter, and momentum, like you talked about, was a big part of that. But it looked like you guys in various ways were able to put some pressure on him and make him just enough uncomfortable.
Absolutely. When you got to move that launch point unwillingly, it affects the guy. It does, because they're used to certain trajectories of the ball, the receivers are, right? They're used to certain launch points. They're used to a certain timing. When you can disrupt that by getting hands on the receivers, by disrupting the routes and the route structure, by flushing the quarterback, by making him roll. Even when he broke contain, we were able to chase him down. All those things just added up to preventing a guy that's been really good at improvising and running his offense as is from making a lot of explosive plays. So really impressed by the way the defense came out. We would like to finish better. We had some reserves in there, and they were doing okay, but that's when the explosive plays took place. They got to finish better because we're counting on those guys. Those guys are going to be playing more and more as the season continues to progress, so we just got to finish better.
Are you getting some more guys back on both sides of the ball, particularly the offensive line? You've had guys in and out there, but it's amazing how well they've come together from the get-go. Even when a young freshman or redshirt freshman comes in, it's not like he's going through a learning process. He steps in and does his job. How's the health of your team now going into this game?
It's about the same. We had a couple guys that got nicked up, and we're trying to see what it looks like come game time. But at this time of year, it's one of those things where you could sit around and whine about it and feel sorry for yourself, or you could just buckle your chin strap a little bit tighter and bite down on your mouthpiece a little bit harder and just go to work. And that's what our guys have chosen to do, and it's impressive, and they're fun to watch. They're fun to coach, and they want nothing but their very best.
Got a lot of freshmen are playing big downs for you. Offense, defense. Game reps obviously are huge, and I'd like you to talk about that a little bit. And I think in the past I've asked you about it before, but why game reps are so important for guys like Bossa and Cardwell and Seven McGee, and you could go on and that type of deal. Why those game reps really bring guys along sometimes more quickly than practice reps do?
Well, the way we practice at game speed, so that helps them, and they're prepared. I mean, none of those guys have flinched from the moment they began play, like actual live play against opponents. And then to actually go out there in the environment, to actually get the calls from the sideline, the signals from the sideline, to implement that, line up correctly, exercise the right eye discipline, trigger to make sure that you're getting your assignment done, all those things, doing them in rhythm and in a routine with your teammates, now it's real, and there's nothing that can really replace that or that can ever have as much value as actually having live game reps. Experience is as valuable as anything there is in football.
It's our Pepsi Coaches Spotlight. Mario Cristobal, head coach with our Ducks here tonight with this coach. You mentioned, looking at the sideline, getting signals. When you get into a game, this is a question I've often wondered. Teams always try to do something you haven't seen. I think, Oregon probably does the same thing, throw something at them. And you need to make adjustments. How do you, as a head coach and your offensive and defensive coordinator, adjust on the fly when you start a game and somebody's doing something you weren't expecting?
Oh, we see it every week. You always want to dig back 5, 6, how many years you need to on everybody you're playing to get a feel for, hey, we don't need to work on every single one of these things, but we better introduce a hint of it, because if this does happen to show itself early on, our guys have seen it, we can make the following adjustment, we've repped it, let's go to work. Or something that we've done similar enough where we can implement it and now have an answer. You got to have answers as a coordinator on game day. You have to, because it's always going to change. Rarely do you see from quarter to quarter things remain exactly the same. And, good teams and good coaches keep adjusting. That's why tremendous credit to our coaching staff. Every single quarter, we just keep finding ways to make adjustments and keep progressing. And other teams make some pretty good ones too. But, so far, we're excited about our progression.
What a great atmosphere it was on Saturday.
Awesome.
It just gets better and better each and every week. And you're going to face that this weekend in Salt Lake City. We'll get a chance to talk about that game here in a little bit. And you've seen a great atmosphere in Columbus, Ohio, too. But it just felt different again this season, didn't it?
It was. Saturday night, that they were cranking. Every visitor that was there was like, "Is this like this all the time?" Oh yeah, that's the Autzen advantage. That's what makes one of the things that makes Oregon so special. It was awesome for our players to really get a full dose of Autzen Stadium.
Yeah. I want to talk about Anthony Brown a little bit, because earlier on in the year I kept saying he's just managing this team really well. He's not having these all-star games. People are looking for this unbelievable performance, but he kept managing the team. He kept winning. I thought he did more than manage that game on Saturday. He took control of that game. Was that the game plan going in? Did you know that this is a team that Anthony Brown can own the way he did?
Well, you got to realize what they do on defense is very difficult, to move the ball on, gain yards, and score points. Look at the way their opponents, what they've tallied up over the past several weeks. It wasn't very much. They were stoning the run really good. They were getting to the quarterback. They had beaten 4 out of their last 5 opponents. They were playing really good football. And they were being very disruptive, forcing a lot of negative plays, getting to the backfield, getting to the quarterback. So we knew we were going to have to do some different things. We were going to present different pictures for them to make adjustments to, and run different things out of those pictures, so they never settled in. If you let a team like that settle in with their team speed and as disruptive as their front 7 can be, you're asking for a long night. So I feel like, Coach Moorhead, the offensive staff, kept those guys off balance, and the players did a great job executing. No doubt about it. Pepsi Coaches Spotlight. We're going to continue on more with head coach Mario Cristobal. When we come back, Utah straight ahead. Still a few things to talk about on this team, about young guys, how they're stepping up. That's all ahead as we continue here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
A quiet retirement was never in the cards for 007. Stream theatrical home release, No Time to Die, starring Daniel Craig and Rami Malek. Now available at Redbox. James Bond is enjoying a tranquil life after leaving active service, but his peace is short-lived when an old CIA friend asks for his help. The mission to rescue a kidnapped scientist turns treacherous, leading Bond on the trail of a mysterious villain who is armed with a dangerous technology. Stream No Time to Die and make it a Redbox night. Visit redbox.com for all the ways to watch.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics, because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Your home for Ducks football. The Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Okay, forest animals, kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow, have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. River, how's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man.
I love it. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. Okay. Squirrel.
The forest has been preparing just for you. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Welcome back inside our Country Financial Studios. I'm Jerry Allen with Jorgie and head coach Mario Cristobal. Oregon get ready to take on Utah this week on the road. Jorgie just mentioned something before we came back. Third down, baby. Third down conversions. Your team offensively on third down. And a lot of it has to do with getting good yardage on first down, didn't it?
Without a doubt, third and manageable and third and short is certainly a lot easier, a lot more doable than third and long. But even on our third and long situations, we've had some fairly good success. So there's a lot that goes into that. I mean, everyone's responsible for good third down football, right? The offensive line, the receivers, the backs, obviously the quarterback making decisions. So, but we're progressing. We're getting a lot better.
And not turning the ball over still. I mean, you had a couple of them in this game, a couple of fumbles and that type of deal. But at the same time, overall, you know, Anthony Brown really efficient at what he's doing. You ran for a lot more yards than you threw for, but what you did through the passing game was kind of what you wanted to do, and just were very efficient. And again, those third down conversions allow you to keep the ball and keep the ball out of Washington State's hands, obviously.
No doubt. And at the end of the day, we have to win the football game. And you've got to do whatever helps the team win. And at UCLA, it was about throwing the ball all over the yard with some good runs. And at Washington, it was raining sideways, so you had to ground and pound it, right? And then this past game, the way the coverage structure sat and some of the things they were giving us and taking away, it called for him to use his legs and complement it with the back. So that's what we did. And, you know, who knows what it's going to look like this week. You know, they do all kinds of stuff and they're disruptive. But all in all, we're just always going to keep doing whatever we have to do to win the game.
Mm-hmm. I'm seeing more and more from Byron Cardwell, and Seven McGee. Do those two guys give you the option now to take some of the pressure off of Travis Dye and not have him in there every down?
Well, he wants to be in there every down. That's the problem, you know. But Byron continues to develop at a really, really accelerated rate, and Seven McGee as well. I mean, Seven is playing really good. This has been another great week of practice for him. You know, he was a handoff away from split one the other day. We just happened to keep it, but if the ball was handed, he's gone as well. So, you know, Byron, we kid Byron. We're like, hey man, you have to be in there when the holes are really big. That's right. But no, he's done a great job. He's a very conscientious young man. He wants to be great, all about the teammates as well. So, a lot of progress there, and we need it because again, losing C.J. Verdell. I mean, C.J.'s as good of a player as there is in the country. Losing a guy like that certainly hurts. These guys have done a great job picking up the slack.
Think you'll ever see a game again where Noah Sewell doesn't have a tackle. and he made plays, no doubt about it. I mean, he made plays, was in, you know, breaking up screen passes, knocking down, you know, passes on crossing patterns and what have you, but not a single tackle. I don't know if I'll ever see that again in my life.
Yeah, you know, the ball was away from him most of the night. You know, if the ball's coming at him, he's going to make a tackle. I still think he's the very best in the country.
Oh, I agree. I don't know if we'll ever see that again. So, one of those odd stats.
It was surprising at the end of the game to read that. There's a question that came up for us in the game, on the punting game. Punters punt the ball differently than they used to. I mean, it used to be a high, tight spiral, deep. You know, try to get your coverage team down. Now punters are doing that backward spin, and we had a situation where I think a receiver, a punt returner, caught the ball inside the 10, maybe the 5-yard line, instead of letting it bounce. And we talked about this. Maybe the receiving or special teams coaches now are saying, you know what, because that ball can take funny bounces the way it's punted, Just catch it and go. Is that changed? I mean, it used to be
Is there
put
a
your
rule?
ankles on the 10-yard line, and then if it's over your head, let it go.
Yeah, well, these guys aren't like pitching wedges, man. They could put it down there at the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you know. But you do, you know, the baseline rules, you want to have your heels at 10. And if you have to take a step back, okay, field it because you don't want it to get down to the 1. But if you really got to go back and field it, you'd rather take your chances and hopefully it takes a bounce. But they do. There's a lot of guys like Tom that are very skilled, and they can get that thing to bounce a certain way and pin you deep. And you've seen there's been times where we've taken a chance and taken a 32-yard punt knowing it's going to pin somebody inside their 10-yard line, knowing that your chances of preventing a score go up by like 30, 35%. That's a lot, you know. So, yeah, these guys they're different. It's different.
No doubt about it.
You always respect your opponents, but coming up with Utah, a lot of respect for the Utah Utes and how they play. They play a very similar style type of football, scoring points, playing great defense, you know, 2 great linebackers from each team, actually more than that, obviously, but, you know, there's 2 of them that are going to be a lot of focus on. It's a huge game, and this is what you coach for, isn't it? This is what players play for, is to be in big-time games like this.
Absolutely. Huge stage, great football team, a lot of really good players, big, massive human beings, very powerful in the trenches, explosive on the edges, linebackers that'll run you down, great cover guys, great skill guys, 2, 3 tight end sets second. Those guys can flat out roll. I mean, broken sets, misplaced personnel, got them lined up at receiver, got them lined up in their typical bunch sets or 2x2 snug sets. Got them out there on perimeter screens, got them out there on the perimeter catching the ball, got them stretching the field, running counter with them or running the old school scissors with them. They do a lot. Quarterback, he beats you with his arm, he beats you with his legs. Cam Rising is a phenomenal football player, and they lead the conference in scoring. You know, right now we're right. It's them. You know, it's Utah first, us second by about a half a point, and they've done it against everybody, and they've done it on the ground, they've done it in the air. Just a really impressive football team. We're really looking forward to this opportunity.
You know how tough it is when a crowd is into it and making noise, and it's tough for a visitor. Lots of fans have done that. It's going to be like that on Saturday in Utah and Salt Lake City. How does your team prepare? What do they do differently when they're going to be the visitor in that kind of a venue?
Well, it's still all about preparation and execution. And every single one of our practices, whether the offense on the field or defense on the field, we've got noise cranked up all the time. And that's just to make sure our guys are always used to seeing signals and communicating and not having to rely on their voices. Because typically, you know, if we're at home, defense is going to have a rough time on the road, so vice versa, right? It's the offense. So we prepare for those by having our processes just worked on again and again and again. And again, it's really about how you execute, okay? And if you're focused on the noise as opposed to whatever this play you have designed, your assignment, your technique in that particular play, if you're focused on all the other stuff and the outside stuff, you're going to have problems. So that's why the mindset training that we do, the way that we practice, we feel we're prepared for these situations, and we've done a fairly good job on the road.
Execution in this kind of a game becomes the critical point. I mean, 2 teams that are somewhat equal and a lot of stats and a lot of numbers, and players are somewhat alike. It's all about execution in a game like this. No mistakes.
Without it, well, we can't say that there's not going to be any mistakes by
limit the mistakes.
but when guys make mistakes that they're going 100 miles per hour, because a lot of times great effort can make up for a poor step, a poor angle, a missed tackle. I mean, look at the other night, right? You know, poor coverage. They hit a big one, right? But we chase it down, and the guy happens to go out of bounds because maybe we chased hard enough where he lost his balance and he had to step out of bounds, and maybe that caused the next play that forced him to scramble, that maybe because of that just extra strain that Jamal gave to get and beat that quarterback to the pylon, knocked it out an inch and a half before crossing the line. So an entire offseason, an entire career here at Oregon, straining in that weight room, running in the summer, all those just multiple days and hours to gain that inch and a half to knock that ball through the end zone. That's what it comes down to. And the guys that understand that, in which our team's understanding more and more, is those are the ones that take and help take the program to that next step. That's what we're pushing. That's what we're emphasizing. We saw some of those results on Saturday. We've seen some of those this season, and we got to just keep improving. Just keep improving through November, and that's what we're focused on.
I'm so anxious to get there on Saturday, but we still have 2 very important days ahead. I know you're ready to go, but you want more practice time. So congratulations to where you and your team are, but that's not enough because I know you want more. So we'll let you get out of here and go do whatever you do to get yourself, your coaches, and your team ready for what will be a very big game on Saturday. And thanks for coming in again.
Yeah, thanks, Coach.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me. As always, go Ducks, and I will see you soon.
All right, talk to you all. And we're going to come back and hear from some of those players. Joey Mack's got him right straight ahead here in the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Here's how Duck fans take flight with OCCU. Start with a Lucky Duck savings account. Move up to a Duck debit card with free checking. Then graduate to a Duck credit card. OCCU makes your financial journey easier with fewer fees, higher rates on savings, and lower rates on loans. Discover the OCCU difference at myoccu.org/go Ducks.
Ready to get back in the game? Great news. The movement experts at Proactive Physical Therapy Specialists can help you find relief and results and keep you off the sidelines. With 15 convenient locations across Portland, contact Proactive Physical Therapy Specialists today at proactivepts.com to see a physical therapist. Proactive Physical Therapy Specialists, a proud partner of Oregon Athletics and trusted choice for keeping Duck fans in the game.
The ins and outs of all things Ducks. This is Oregon football from Learfield.
Okay, man, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're going to go out there and be an all-star caregiver. Cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You got to dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Show the world that you're tougher than tough.
Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
To some, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much, but that's not true. They're testing out vowels and consonants and trying different sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on meaning, especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Country Financial Studios. Jerry Jorge and Joey Mack returns to the show with some greatness. Not you, the players.
Yeah, the players. I was going to say, the players back on the show with a lot of greatness. And we're going to actually start with maybe the quote of the day. Travis Dye got a good chuckle, and well, he said what everybody was thinking when asked about the Utes in this matchup. What's Travis Dye got on his mind?
It's a very physical team, very hard-nosed team. You know, they have a Sewell, we have a Sewell type thing. But it's going to be a very, fun game. It always is. It always is. Utah's a great team. They always are. They have great coaching, just very their guys are very disciplined. So it's going to be a matchup for sure.
They have a Sewell, we have a Sewell. Not bad, huh? Travis Dye, just speaking the truth. Anthony Brown also was talking about this matchup, and he knows it's a big one.
I would just say it's important because it's the game, it's our matchup in the Pac-12 that everybody's been looking forward to, I guess, for a long time. And it's right in front of us. It's right there for us to go after it and just get after it against these guys. So they're a really good team, and it's an important game, especially with them being ranked and us being ranked as well.
So it is a big game. Anthony Brown acknowledges that, and Travis Dye this week talking also about how do you play? How do you handle these big games? He's been in a few of them, Travis has.
Yeah, it's all about our attitude. We don't back down from any challenge. You fear no man. You just go in there, you play the game that you've been playing since you were 5 years old. We have a lot of guys with that type of attitude, that type of mindset. Just no one can beat us, no one can out-strengthen us, no one can outdo us, anything that we do, our Oregon football. As long as we all got that mindset, there's no team that we'll be scared of ever.
Impressive stuff from Travis Dye. And one of those guys that I think goes out, plays, gives it everything he has. We've seen that, gives it his all, is Alex Forsyth. His breakdown of Utah heading into this game.
Yeah, I think they're a real physical bunch. The program that prides itself on a lot of things we pride ourselves on, and that's running the ball and being able to stop the run. So it's Coach Whittingham over there. He's got a great program. He's built a great culture around there, and so it's kind of like looking in the mirror for us right now. Two programs that pride themselves, like I said, on stopping the run and running the ball. So it's always a really physical game. So I'm really excited for it.
One thing that comes up every time you go play teams like Colorado and Utah is the altitude. It seems like everybody handles it a little bit differently. Alex Forsyth was asked about that. The environment, the altitude, how do you prepare for it?
No, I think it's kind of something that I don't know how to simulate altitude, so we can't really prepare. I mean, it's just going to be, I can't change it, so it's just kind of be, it is what it is for us. We practicing the mow today, but they open up all the doors and turn on the fan, so it was pretty much the same conditions we'll be playing in. It was about 44 degrees in there, so I think for us it's just going out there and trying not to worry about whatever the external factors are and just kind of focus on what we got.
Well, one of those external factors, we expect it to be a very, very rowdy crowd. This is a big-time matchup for Utah, and Utah sure does remember what happened in the Pac-12 championship game a couple years ago, and you know that Ute fans are going to be excited to have the number 3 team in the country coming to face them. Stephen Jones asked about that environment for Utah fans and what the Ducks are going to be dealing with.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be all those factors going into the game, but at the end of the day, you still got to put your hand in the ground and you got to do your assignment. So we've been talking about it in the O-line room all week. These dudes up front are big, physical, and probably the best D-line we're going to go against this whole entire season. So, I mean, I sound like a broken record, but it's another challenge, and I'm just excited to get after them and see what they're ready to bring. But it's another week to go 1-0, and we're just striving for that. So.
Another week to go, 1-0. But the Ducks, they know the challenge that Utah presents to them. Stephen Jones continuing on the offensive line front. Look, the Ducks have dealt with injuries. Ryan walks out, but now Alex Forsyth is back. Jackson Powers-Johnson trying to work his way back. You worried about injuries, Stephen Jones?
I mean, no, because I have faith in all my brothers that if one of us goes down, the next dude behind him, whoever that is going to be able to get the job done. And plus, when you're playing at O-line, we say 5 is 1. So we know that if a new guy who has to come in and play has to go in there, we know it's going to be a little iffy for him. But, of course, we're going to be working with him because 5 is 1. So we're going to make sure he's on the right page, whoever it is that's going in, and making sure that they're getting their blocks done too. So
5 is 1. Stephen Jones saying what the Ducks have been talking about with Swiss Army knives along the offensive line, really their entire careers. One of those Swiss Army knives is Malasala Amuvelaulu. The guys call him Sala, and Stephen Jones was asked about him and just what it's been like playing next to him this year.
And, of course, off the edges is very important to make sure you lock down the edges, whoever those edge rushers are. And Sala, he's a very technical dude. He's always into and, very adamant about his technique being perfect. So I think with that and as well as his patience whenever he's, especially in pass pro, those two combine together. I mean, Sala's been doing his job all year, and I love playing next to him. I mean, it's easy communication, especially when we got run plays. I know me and Sala, whoever we're about to block, is about to get it. So, I mean, it's awesome. I love working with Sala. He's a great dude, and I think he's just going to keep on going, keep on rolling throughout the season.
And one of those guys that gets it and gets advantage of it sometimes is the Oregon defense. So more on that in a second, but I want to continue on the offensive line front because Travis Dye, well, look, running backs love his offensive line. Travis Dye, no exception.
Yeah, no, Sala and TJ and George Moore, they've been doing a really good job. They just, they've been really practicing with Mirabal all day, every single day. And, Sala, he's a great player. And I don't expect him to do anything different this week. He's very physical. He's very smart. And that's my guy.
Well, earlier, Stephen Jones said, Baby Dye, that's my guy. That's what we heard last week. So you know that an offensive line that has a good relationship with its running back and vice versa, good things tend to happen. Continuing on the offensive front, too, Jorgie, we were talking earlier about how game reps matter so much. Well, the Ducks try their best to create game reps in practice. And Stephen Jones was talking about that, and I thought he had a great note here, a great thing to say about how the Ducks go about their preparation.
Oh, yeah, I think so. Coach Cristobal makes it a huge emphasis that we go hard in practice. So practice reps, it turns out to be game reality. So that's what we keep on telling ourselves. So that's why every week we've done block destruction, we've done indie run, and getting after each other, not just letting up on each other, because we know that if we ease up throughout the Tuesday or Wednesday practice, we're going to ease up on Saturday. So we know that we got to, butt heads and just get our feet in the ground and just grind throughout the week. So on Saturdays, it eventually might even be easier than what it was during practice throughout the week. So
do everything possible to make every rep feel like a game rep. And then the Ducks talk about how in a game they want everything to feel like a fourth quarter rep. It's all that mindset and that mentality that Coach was just talking about. And Coach Feld and his staff, they work so hard on those things that are really beyond football. Continuing, though, with some of the X's and O's, Anthony Brown, he can really hurt an opposing team with his legs. He got asked about him running the ball this week.
Now it's one more person to worry about, so obviously you can't just have two people worrying about a running back and just leaving the quarterback alone. So I would say just being a part of the run game and affecting the defense as much as I can is good for us.
Well, and it is proven so. It has been good for the Ducks, and Travis Dye agrees. Anthony Brown, he opens things up for this offense with his legs.
AB, he's just such a great runner, and so now teams have to respect him, whatever he does, and so it's great that he got to show the world that the past few weeks, he's a great runner, and he can hit the hole hard, and he has eyes like a running back for sure.
He can hit the hole hard, but he also occasionally hits some guys hard, and we've seen him as a lead blocker. Maybe his offensive line doesn't always like the fact that Anthony Brown's a lead blocker, according to Alex Forsyth.
I think it's cool in the moment, but when we come back on Sunday, I always looking at him, you got to start sliding, dude, because it's scary. I kind of hold my breath every time I see him. No, but he's a big quarterback. He loves to run the ball, and he also, I don't know if you guys saw, but one of our last touchdowns, he was out there lead blocking. So he's a very unselfish player in terms of if he's not running the ball, he's going to start blocking. So I think he's just a physical dude, and he loves the physicality of the game. I think he's probably an O-lineman at heart. Maybe in another life he was an O-lineman. No, but I wish he would slide more. But he loves the physicality, and I love that part.
A quarterback who in another life was an offensive lineman, that scares me a little bit. But Anthony Brown has proven he likes that physical part of football, and that's part of why the Ducks love him as a leader, according to Alex Forsyth.
Yeah, I think for us, he's always been a great leader, but the fact that you got to be willing to put your body on the line for your brother next to you. So I think especially with that, he knows we'll do anything for him, and I know he'll do anything for us. So I think that aspect, I think that's a good point, because I know he's going to put his body on the line for the team. So, and we'll do the same for him.
Yeah, that's a leader right there. Alex Forsyth, a leader in his own right as well, and a guy who I think could be a real X factor, has been the last few weeks, is Byron Cardwell. C.J. Verdell really made Utah pay defensively last time these two teams met. Byron Cardwell, again, Travis Dye said that he reminds him a little bit of C.J. Verdell. If Byron Cardwell does well, I'm excited to see what the X factor could be. Now, let's hear from Stephen Jones.
He's a great running back. Obviously, you guys seen that he knows how to run the rock, and also he knows the offensive line protection and a blocking scheme really well too. So he lets us all get our blocks formulated, and then he'll try to hit that gap. Brown, he's a great dude, and he's only a freshman, so I'm excited to see more of him. That's my boy right there. But I know that when he's back there, we're gonna get some yards with him. So
I love the fact that Stephen Jones refers to every running back on the roster now as his boy. X factor is Byron Cardwell, I think. We're going to hear from the defense coming up.
By the way, how do you define leadership on a team? Look at the quarterback who's a lead blocker on running plays.
I know.
That's leadership. That's what leadership is. All right. We're back
but also the fact that he got out in front of his running back to do that.
Everybody down the field.
How did he do that? That's he knew where the play was going, for one thing. So, yeah.
But you got to get there.
Yeah. Eyes like a running back.
You never did that?
I don't think so.
We're back with more after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
A quiet retirement was never in the cards for 007. Extreme theatrical home release, No Time to Die, starring Daniel Craig and Rami Malek. Now available at Redbox. James Bond is enjoying a tranquil life after leaving active service, but his peace is short-lived when an old CIA friend asks for his help. The mission to rescue a kidnapped scientist turns treacherous, leading Bond on the trail of a mysterious villain who is armed with a dangerous technology. Stream No Time to Die and make it a Redbox night. Visit redbox.com for all the ways to watch.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
More Jerry, Jorgie, and Joey after this timeout. You're listening to the Oregon Football Coaches Show on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
America, your children have an amazing superpower. They can help save lives by not having play dates. That's right. By replacing get-togethers with virtual play dates and video chats, they can help slow the evil spread of germs. And if your superheroes do go outside, make sure they continue their superhero wing by staying 6 feet away from others to protect everyone in America land. Find out more at coronavirus.gov. A message from the CDC and the Ad Council.
Welcome back inside the Country Financial Studios. Jerry, Jorgie, and Joey, and some great comments from the young men getting ready to play what to them is just the next week, trying to get 1-0, more guys.
First, we're going to look back, though. Brian Addison, big interception, cool story for him, and, well, it was a big quote he felt like after he described his first interception.
On that play, I just saw greatness in my eyes. It was just a chance for me to go out there and make a play, but the quarterback threw it straight to me. You know, it's one of those times where I got my opportunity to make a play, and that's what happened pretty much.
And he did make that play, and it was cool to see that for Brian Addison. And, you know, Jamal Hill was asked about that, too. Like, hey, what was it like to see a guy who's been through a lot in his personal life and moved from receiver to DB? Cool to see that, huh, Jamal Hill?
Man, can't even really put it into words, just, like, seeing where, like, he came from, like, all the work he didn't put in to get to this point and finally see, like, pay off at a game is priceless. Like, a whole team was so happy for him, bro.
That's awesome. Jamal Hill talking about that Brian Addison interception. Now Verone McKinley, the general, talking about this Utah team. Give us the report, Verone.
One that's ready to play, a physical, good quarterback, good tight ends, Britton Covey, really good receiver who's been there for a while. So they're going to be locked and loaded. I'm sure the crowd's going to be into it. It's going to be a good atmosphere. So they'll be ready to play for sure.
You know, Verone McKinley continued to talk a little bit about how this is a physical matchup. He thinks it's going to be a battle between these two teams.
Two teams, we're going to go at it. They're going to throw some shots. We're going to throw some shots. It's just about keep going. Continue to keep fighting. Good, bad, ugly. I've always said it. Stay poised no matter what it is. I'm just going to keep going. And when, you know, the horn's over, just want to be 1-0.
Just go 1-0. One more point than the other team, but whatever it takes, right? All those different things that you can say, but that's the mentality that the Ducks have. Jamal Hill, back to him, talking about the Utah quarterback, Cameron Rising. Jamal Hill giving us the scouting report.
He's a really good decision maker. Like you said, he hasn't thrown a lot of interceptions, but we just got to capitalize on when he does make those mistakes and try to give him different looks, try to force him into some mistakes.
He hasn't thrown an interception in over a month, Cameron Rising. He has the lowest interception rate in the Pac-12 on all of his pass attempts. Pretty impressive. Part of the reason, I think, is that he's got some good pass catchers. Some of them are tight ends. They use more tight ends than anybody in the conference, and Jamal Hill was talking about that matchup for the Duck defense.
With their tight ends, they use a lot of, I want to say like 11 personnel sets, but with the bigger tight ends, so it's just being disciplined in everything that we need to do and just seeing our keys and just knowing what we need to do, really.
It's pretty simple when he puts it that way, just knowing your keys and stay with the assignment. You know, one guy that has really come back with authority is Jordan Happel. Been garnering a lot of attention from the Oregon secondary, the Oregon coaches, and Verone McKinley was talking about Jordan Happel today.
Hap is another guy that's similar to me that really understands football, and he's basically like a coach on the field. So when we're able to play together, it makes things a lot easier for everybody else because, you know, we're going to stay on top of everything.
we're efficient in tackling, we're efficient in coverage, and we understand everything that's going on. So we don't need for Coach Yates to have to yell something out. We see it, address it, get it to everybody else, and we can move on. And that's what he's huge. He's a Swiss Army knife. He knows all the positions. He knows the entire defense as well. So he's been huge.
And we have seen Jordan Happel play a lot of those different positions. Next, Verone McKinley was talking about the guys that don't necessarily fill up the stat book but are garnering a lot of attention for good reason, in Brandon Dorless and Popo Amovai.
They may not make the tackle, but triple team. I saw Popo was getting triple teamed. Dorless gets a one-on-one. KT gets a one-on-one. We've seen Dorless get triple teamed. Then Popo gets the tackle. So two guys who, you know, Five gets a lot of the attention because, I mean, he's a monster. But it was like two guys who have it all. They do everything. They have the pass rush. They have the ability to get off blocks. And they've just done a great job and create havoc for us, especially in the back end as well, with getting their hands on balls and things like that.
Good stuff from Verone McKinley. When we come back, maybe the quote of the year, Jerry. So come back for that.
Quote of the year?
Yep.
Really?
I see greatness. That was a pretty good quote.
That was a good quote.
We're back with more here in the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
Hey, so what's a great way to spread awareness that driving high is illegal everywhere? A catchy song, of course.
You can run, but you can't drive high. You can run, but you can't drive high.
Friendly reminder, don't drive high. If you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Jill, why don't you tell the class what you did this weekend?
Well, my dad and I went in search of some magical minnows and found a zillion of them in the stream from our lookout rock. Then my sister and I escaped from an evil slug king and went back to my super twig fort for safety. Then we told stories till it got dark, and the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Wow. Where were you, Jill?
We went to the forest. It's not that far away.
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
If a natural disaster comes knocking, how prepared is your family? You can't just close the door on earthquakes, floods, or hurricanes and hope they go away. That's why it's important to make a plan now. Ready.gov/plan has the tools and tips you need to prepare your family for an emergency. So if disaster shows up at your doorstep, you'll be ready. Visit ready.gov/plan and make a plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Oregon Coaches Show. A couple of more comments with some greatness and maybe a historical quote.
Well, yes. The reason that I say I think this is the quote of the year comes from Verone McKinley. Ducks have been playing a lot of football so far this year, and he kind of puts everything in perspective as to where the Ducks were, where the Ducks are now defensively, and I just love the fact that we heard him say this at the beginning of the year, and he's still thinking it here at the end. Verone McKinley on where the defense is at.
I would say we've gotten some guys back. That's been big, just getting guys back. And then the mental side, everybody's understanding this defense. You know, system's still a little bit, it was still a little bit new. So, you know, get into games, get into the flow of it. Guys get hurt, new guys coming in. So it's never really just set in stone. Now we have all those guys back. We're rolling. And then just, we wanted to be consistent. We said from the beginning of the year, why not us? Why can't we be the best defense in the country? Why can't we get takeaways? Why can't we do all this? Like, why not? And so we've taken pride in that, and we continue to just get better every day. We go to practice. We want to get better. Everybody's coming in, smiling on their face, ready to go, learn, and get better. So,
comment of the year. Because he said at the beginning, do you remember this? He said at the beginning during Media Day, he was like, hey, why not us? It's still that way.
Yeah.
Ducks have gone through injuries. Ducks have lost some starters. Ducks have played a lot of young guys. Ducks have had guys move positions on defense. Why not?
No,
and they've done a great job. Well, I think the defense deserves a lot of credit for the way they've grown throughout the course of the year. And Verone McKinley, I thought he said it great there.
Bro McKinley is going to be a TV analyst for ESPN after he finishes.
He'll be a head coach
professional.
first.
No, he's going to be whatever he wants to be. He's going to be.
He's a dude.
He's a dude. I love listening to him. The intelligence of young men and women playing in college athletics today is staggering. They really are something else. Well, what more can we say? It's the game of the year, but it's not the only game of the year. It's just the one this week. It's Utah.
That's right.
4:30, 2:30 pregame show. I'm juiced.
This is what it's all about,
it
man.
Is. Yeah, that's what you look forward to every year. In November to be in this situation, right?
That's right. These are the games. This is why you come to Oregon.
Yep.
That's why you're an Oregon fan, and that's why we're glad you are. 2:30 again to pregame, 4:30 from Salt Lake City. We'll be there.
This has been the Oregon Football Coaches Show on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield. Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Country Financial Insurance. Protect what matters. And by Pepsi and Bigfoot Beverages. Go Ducks. Drink Pepsi. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.